There we go. Check 1, 2. There. I'll just pretend like we're starting over again. Yo. Hey everybody, welcome back to Spirit Plays More Catacomb Kids. That's all we say anymore. Spiral Nights. Before we begin, please click the like button, subscribe to see more in the future. I lost my phone. There, we're starting over. Now I was trying to upload a video while streaming. Not a good idea. At least not in my realm. Couldn't find a party, so I'm like, hey, you know what, we'll just kind of go down and we'll start our own. Maybe we can start a thing. This game's beautiful. I like it. Crap. We have you, right? Yes, we have you. Be lit on fire. I swear I hit the change weapon button. It doesn't matter. Rat-tat-tat-tat, yo. This game is so beautiful. Why can't you get updated? I know the answer to that question. Oh. Chop chop. Why don't we have an acro? That's a good question. So I don't feel like it. It still I see the sword. It still leaves a bad taste in my mouth every time I see it. So I can go without it for a bit, I think it sounds fair. I can play how I want to play. But I'm going to go a season without my phone for a minute. So this occurred to me, obviously. It didn't. 5 seconds of reflection, right? I used to smoke. I smoked for like 6 years, from age 16 to 22. That's not too significant. It's not like I'm a 30-year smoker and came back and did 500 relapses or anything. I quit because I got sick, and it's a combination. Sickness plus force of will. You have to want to quit something. Because once it's addicted, it's part of routine. It just kind of holds on to you. It holds on to you. Routine holds on to you, and we like routine. Routine, unfortunately, has zero creativity. I mean, there's variation in routine, and I suppose you need like templates in order to, just function in society. But this is something you can really look at when it comes to children. Like, children will learn as long as life is structured to the point where they can play. And you need a routine for that. Because safety is in routine. I survived yesterday. I will survive today. That kind of thing. You just took that right in the freaking face. And I accepted it. You might actually I'll die. I'll die to little fiendies. That also might happen. Thread the needle. And then just run right into them. Give me a minute. I got an idea. You're not gonna see this coming, cause it's behind you. But the reason why I say I was a smoker for 6 years and my routine is good is sometimes it's hard to break from a routine you're comfortable with. That's the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. But I know myself, and now we know what smoking does to people. So I stopped it, and then I'm like, after I lost my phone for a day, I'm like, you know what? I actually have a lot of time, and I'm not feeling compelled to check something that's vibrating on my leg, which is really weird if you think about it. The phone is just being something that vibrates on your leg instead of what it is. We know how to dodge. Maybe. Yes. Okay. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yeah. Oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine, plenty of rain. I think that's how that goes. Yo, I'm gonna take a hit. Oh no, I didn't. Neat. So I'm gonna go a season without my phone. Facebook's Messenger is still there. I was even talking to the director of the C.S. Lewis Institute. He's like, I couldn't do my job without my portable computer. I'm like, I didn't respond to it. I'm like, I think you can. It's amazing how much society's, but crap, forgot you existed. how societies somehow survive for so long without this stuff. Just like, you know, how society survives so long without birth control. How society survives so long without coffee. Wait, I don't think society's ever been without coffee, so maybe it's a bad analogy. Now, breaking the addiction to coffee, that's a tough one right there. I don't know. I can command how awake I feel. That's not unhealthy, maybe. Crap. Mixture of fiends and beasts, huh? We gotta get rid of you guys because you're just hounding me. I suppose we could use just this all the time. Chomp chomp. Oh no. Let's use this. And then this. Might be a bad idea. Terrible idea, terrible idea. Oh no! We're stuck. Luckily, we're just being attacked by squirrels. So it feels kind of refreshing now. The other thing I'm trying to do is I posted in a local, what? Sure. Local, is it community board, I guess? Something like that. I'm like, I'm starting at the dojo. It's going to be Okinawan style, which means intimate. It's one of those garage style dojos, literally. But I'm going to interview everybody I have as my students, so I'm only going to have like 5 or 6. My barn is not that big. Oh, crap. I wish it was bigger, obviously. We don't want bigger and better things, especially as Americans. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Good idea. Oh, you need to, yeah, do that. But I don't really, like, I mean, Christ is obviously the biggest example when it comes to influence, and how many people do you have? 12? Do I expect to teach 100 people and actually make them competent fighters? So I'm on a small, you know, small base. That's all your base are belong to us. Oh no! Just don't actually die here, if you can help it. I also don't think I'll have time to do this the entirety of this clockwork section, but we'll try. Surprised we're doing as well as we did. It's routine, man, right? This is definitely a game that's in my comfort zone. I can talk and play at the same time. That whole complex motor mechanic type thing. Alright, little jump of the gun there, buddy. We open this? I think yeah, we did, okay. Mostly I picked this level because, I mean, sorry, because this is a... Does this still work? 8 map. I picked this one because it's fiends. I get to use my griffin. It's my favorite gun. Oh man, the dopamine rush is intense. Let's go. So I'm gonna go without something in my pocket to constantly distract me. And when you don't have a phone, you're watching this, obviously, either you're watching it on a phone or you're watching it on some device that privileges you enough to be in the top 1% of humanity that's ever existed as far as wealth goes. You notice how much people are on them instead of like interacting with this world that we're looking in right now, like you're looking in right now, and I guess I am technically too because I'm looking at a screen. It is just an illusion of lights. So what's that really doing? Oh my gosh, we got the Frost Lord. Here we go. Bop. Never seen Frost Lord before. There's a lot of people I've never seen before. But it's an illusion of lights. Like, what is it really doing? What is your phone really doing for you? This is a new. If you haven't read Neil Postman, I strongly recommend reading him because he puts it very well to the point like when the Telegraph came out. Like, you're gonna know when the Queen of England sneezes. Well, thank goodness. It's honestly that really doing for your life as is. It's not a whole lot, really. And that's the fallacy of, you know, being concerned about things that are above your pay grade, right? Like what you can actually influence based on your talents and your role in life as such. Brambirds! Oh my gosh. Got a Brambird. And what happens is you become... I'm gonna mute him. Oop. You become, instead of just like in this game, you become, instead of just one person who has an influence or has an effect, a significant effect on the rest of the party, and you can contribute to it, and vice versa, because you're, you know, a member of a family. You become one of a billion people, and your insignificance just rises because you can't see yourself. You don't know. You know what your identity is, but there's so many people that are better than you, that are smarter than you, faster than you. And so your comparison, your meaning, and significance just it drops like hardcore. I'm just a drop in the bucket. My vote doesn't matter. You know, that kind of mentality. Instead of understanding you as a part of a whole, and your significance in the world you currently live. That kind of thing. So you get lost in the sea, in the vast sea of the infinite, when you're like a finite creature, something like that. So you take yourself out of that scenario, right? Instead of being just, you know, a spiral knight, you're one of four. You play a significant role. This is I honestly think one of the major plays in the whole game of like sexual identity, political identity, family identity, the whole patriarchy philosophy pushed by roughly feminism. It's modern feminists, as far as I can tell, they just want to turn women into mediocre men, as if life is all about power and money. And all that's just through, you know, vast influence of things like the internet, or rather the internet itself. That's why I like games like this, where you can just be one of four. I did promise my daughter to feed the other guy eventually, so we probably should take that. And if you want more ramblings on this philosophy, in my other channel, it's called Heart and Mind Coffee Talks. Good one to go to, because I just go off on this kind of stuff. So, I mean, that got me thinking, you know, I do kind of miss Spiral Knights. Might as well just give it a shot. I know there's nothing new here, but what are we hoping to find? Because this is actually something I was riffing in my brain. I could say that right. Yesterday at work. Nostalgia is what we long for. This is the Garden of Eden. We long for when things are better, or better, could be better. So you have your past is basically like a point of reference for your future. So that's one way, and the way that looks, or it's particulated, is in your life. And life is the observance of, at least it's conscious life, for you and me and humans watching this stuff, is the observance of matter being acted upon by law. And that's, you know, God calling out to... That's why I use Genesis so much, because it says this stuff in such a great story from. It's God, the abstract law, calling out to material itself properly, as it should. We got a dragon! Oh, cyber! And death! Yo, good to see you guys. So here we are, being significant. Coughing up a storm. So, upon losing my form immediately, I'm starting to coach my daughters a little bit more. More daddy-daughter time, one-on-one. There's that significance aspect that's not lost. Literally tore down and built a new fence. Well, it's not going to be done until tomorrow, but still, it's put up like 90% of it. I ran out of daylight. And that's like how often do we say that? Especially those watching this video. I ran out of daylight. That means maybe the time ran out and then you're tired. But literally I could not see, so I couldn't make my fence anymore. Like that's exactly what happened. And wow, I feel like a working man. Is this what this is like? So I'm proud of myself. I've done stuff like this before. I basically just re-outfitted the inside of my barn for a martial arts dojo. That's pretty significant, I think. So it's not like it's only inept when it comes to doing stuff with my hands. Obviously, besides moving a forklift around or clicking buttons on a mouse. Let's go. Yo, it's so nice having friends. He's got the storm driver. Dead on floor 18. Halogen work lamp. Yes. Okay. Yeah. The sun going down. It's all gray in the warehouse. Like, it's amazing seeing the guys. You're talking about that, right? The sun going up and down. Inside the warehouse, we have a heated warehouse, which is quite a luxury, let me tell you, because I've worked in ones that are not. And you get to, good luck building or dressing appropriately for the weather. You'll be hot and cold for 5 seconds because the door's opening and shutting. And like at FedEx Ground, before it became RPS, well, when it was RPS and went to FedEx Ground, they had the dock built such that the crosswind would always be a factor. Like, you open up the dock doors are constantly being moved, because it's FedEx. I mean, you're moving your dock door trailers from one end to the other, to load to unload. So you'd have open doors constantly, and you'd have crosswinds. And it would just get so cold there because of the wind. Pretty sure that's where my body learned how to get sick. I don't know how else to put that. The cold, because cold air brings on my asthma. I didn't have asthma to that extent until I lived there. That's just me not listening to my mom when she says stuff like, put a coat on. Go outside, you get cold, you get sick. It's not exactly how that works, but it still kind of is. You work at FedEx Ground? Oh my gosh. Do you work for the hub? Or do you work for... Because I worked at the hub, so it was like you make no money and they let you know it. You gotta go. I worked in the management part, so in total I was there about 9 years. And they were... I remember the assistant hub manager was... Like, not only was he bummed, he was in trouble because I put in my 2 weeks notice. Like, leadership and mentoring are huge there. I don't know if it's still like that now, but it was then. Pew pew pew. Don't look outside the screen there, buddy. Windowed modes has its luxuries. And the hub is a pack chiller. Yo, we're at... I work in Lewisberry, or I worked in Lewisberry, Pennsylvania. The Harrisburg hub is legend. Yo, I'm curious. Maybe we work at the same place. But anyway, so backtracking. I work in a heated warehouse, so what I'm trying to get at is the weather's getting nice. So they're cracking the doors open, just leaving them open because it's beautiful outside. It's like encouraging and lifts everybody up. And that's awesome, and you're not allowed to have your phone on the floor, and people do anyway because, for lack of a better word, it's a European company, and the rule structure is not as strict. Now, the problem with that is, so I was thinking this is a little loud, maybe. The problem with that is you can never get anything done because no one wants to have convictions. Swords? Let's do swords. Like no one wants to claim responsibility for something. There we go. So we can just give you a slasher thing. Get the slash. There we go. And then now we're gonna be in the fray, so we should whip our ancient shield. Yeah. And what kind of drinks do we got here? I think we have medium, very high. What a flash. So I have a better idea about quick strike. And then we just keep the damage trinket because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it anyway. Okay. Trinket. Please forgive me, guys. I have no idea what I'm doing. Quick strike. So everything's fast. These guys are so patient. Thank you. Let's go. Going down. It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. I'm just said spiral poggers. The whole game is a play of the game. Beautiful. Oh, we're going in. I'm just gonna go rat-tat-tat-tat. Think you're a cyber. Oh, sleep. He fell asleep mid-question. Okay. I get it. What time is it? See that? Didn't even have to lock on to the enemy. I meant to say that. I'm gonna say or anything. Let's go, gentlemen. Or not. Yo, Brainbird, it's okay, buddy. You need the perfect loadout to be depth 24. The most beautiful swordsman. Always, yes, the perfect loadout. I usually put it over there. I think everybody does, yeah. How dare you do what you've already figured out is the most maximum efficient thing to do. Oh. Everybody forgot about him. That was depressing. Beautiful. See that, Mike? That's potential food. Wait. What's your name again? It's been so long. It is Mike, okay. Fred's the other guy. So some things I'm noticing, like, without a phone, besides people just constantly being members of the zombie apocalypse, because everybody's looking down and texting and walking now. Everybody's taking an extra 5 seconds at a stoplight because they can't be bothered to actually have time that's not filled with silence in their own thoughts. At a stoplight, you have to look down at your phone and check who might have messaged you or who did. Heaven forbid. You have to wrestle with something for 5 seconds. Then you notice this stuff when you're not, just like you notice how many people smoke when you're not a smoker now. Disgusting cigarette smoke is when after you've already purged yourself of it. So it's a neat thing to notice. Yo, I would say you could text me, but I got no phone. It's good to have friends, even if they're online and semi-interactive. Beth, do you play any of these games? Do you play Risk of Rain 2? I remember you said that. Like Catacomb Kids, which is the dopest game ever. I wish like 4-bit could probably like triplicate himself just to make it go a little faster, but I'm enjoying it as is. Are we up to like 370 some episodes? Not all of those are victories, but I'm trying to support the victories that we do get. I'm gonna use Discord on my phone because I have the most. Sorry, when I had a phone back in the day, I had the most minimalistic phone there was. So I have barely enough space on my phone for my reading music. That's like maybe 10 hours of music. Not even that long. And then I barely have enough room for like 20 pictures. So like putting Discord or any of that stuff on my phone is just, do you really want to do this one thing? That's a good idea. Just run right into it. Or would you rather do 20 things or enjoy pictures? You know what I mean? So Discord's not on there. It was there for a second. I even took out the only thing I have on there, I can talk in the proper context. Was the YouTube app. Because like following in the Johnny Depp trial is hilarious. Like but I forget, is he innocent yet? Because that girl is, good job. Just hesitate and make your decision on the spikes itself. Anyway, that girl is just toxic femininity. Will Smith is not an example. By the way, Will Smith, holy crap. Talk about slapping the internet with something. So just, you know what? We're men. We take damage. That's what we do. Will Smith slapped the internet. But you can't say he didn't, because he obviously did. With all the Ukraine crap going on, he certainly slapped the internet. Nothing was Will Smith memes for at least 2-3 straight days. I couldn't get away from it. Boop. Somebody had to wrangle these undead. Well, what did I say that's confusing? Or maybe I'm not articulating. Maybe I have a weird accent. Listen, it's one of the reasons I do like this is because if I'm saying something that's not clear, someone could text me like, "What are you talking about?" Or I can just keep rambling. You didn't get retarded. Might have gotten incoherent. That happens with age. Am I too quiet? Is that it? Lower the game volume. I upped it because I was playing Final Fantasy IV so much. Oh. Well, thank you. There. Is that a little better? But also this time of the day, I have to be quiet. And I have to be quiet because my family's sleeping. 20 minutes till work, by the way. So I hope that's a lot better. So your PC farted. Well, what's your favorite game? Brother Death. It's multiple categories, right? You have favorite as far as nostalgia goes, favorite as far as action, favorite as far as casual. It's one of the reasons Risk of Rain 2 is so high on my list. Is that better? Can you understand what I'm saying, sort of? You can't understand me. Yes. So I think that was it. I had the game volume up a little too loud. The power of Acheron compels you. Boom. So I know, let's see, Twilight Princess has to be my favorite game ever. But there's context behind that, right? But then again, Child of Light is also my favorite game ever. So Child of Light, I played for my daughter, and if you want to talk about sophisticated, articulated language and just a beautiful masterpiece, and a game that, like, when you sit there and just enjoy and experience it, it'll, like, bring tears to your soul. No, it's not your eyes, it's your soul. Like, it makes you crave something as beautiful as it is. And, I mean, that's Shakespeare. Because I read Shakespeare, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like Child of Light. I read Midsummer Night's Dream. I have to read Macbeth yet. The language, the way that Shakespeare speaks, it's quite, I mean, it's significant. He uses language intentionally and rhythmically, and all that's really awesome. That's something that we forget in our modern culture is, you know, to get into university, you had to have a competent understanding of English literature, and that was just one of those things. Shakespeare. Besides knowing like 3 languages, now you have to. You don't have to do anything besides go into debt for the next 30 years of your life. Which has its own problems. We're actually talking about that at work, about how I'm at least not going to sign for my kid's student loan bill if they decide to go to college, because right now, as is, the universities are terrible. I just do not want my kid there. Kids, either of them, unless I'm not going to co-sign, because my wife and I still, this is why I'm working 6 days a week now. We would not be in this position where we have to keep paying back student loan debt. We would still have the same job. It's very, very frustrating just to know that. And this is why the student loan forgiveness thing, you can actually make a case for it, not based on, you know, the monetary value of just a philosophy. You know, like, people were allowed to be hoodwinked into spending vast amounts of money and being coddled into debt. I think that sounds about right, because parents didn't and schools didn't teach kids how to act responsibly. What are we learning now? There's a big thing about grooming kids in school. Like, who the heck cares? What should schools teach? They should teach you how to live, teach them how to save money, teach them how to balance a checkbook. But no, it teaches you your proper gender, as if that's going to dictate your actions in life. It will, a little bit. But as far as, like, survival, they teach people how to hunt food. I don't know, skin an animal, build a house. Those things sound pretty good. Let's focus on that. That sounds good. That sounds like a good thing. Not worry about the possibility of, you know, what's gifted to you as far as biology goes in the gender aspect, or as if your life is all about sexuality, and that's going to dictate every single choice you ever make. Everybody knows there's more to them than just their gender identity. Whether it's ascribed to you, whether you ascribe it to yourself, you're more than that. We crave it, and to become more of a whole, or a greater part of a story that's bigger than us. I mean, there's nothing more significant in life, as far as I can tell. 0 things. Speaking and articulating something. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just catching up on your text now. Sometimes I ramble. I was trying to translate it. You said about the guy I was arguing, even back when I was in high school, the math's not about learning to count, but about developing problem-solving skills. You don't need much more than that. Yeah. So anything beyond that, roughly beyond that, is just indoctrination of a philosophy. Which is not good. That should be up to the parents. And that's how social values, and that's how family structure itself becomes greater. That's how you get a stronger nation. You have a story, creation story, and you're always trying to get back to it, sort of. Or at least get to the state where things were more perfect than they are. But life changes, so it won't be the exact same. That's that constant hunger for nostalgia. That's why when games stop updating, you get a little resentful. You're like, I love this, but now I don't. So Spiral Knights, I can't play it every day because it hasn't updated in like 8 years now or something like that. Like, no significant updates anyway. It hasn't been that long. Maybe like 6 years. And the other thing that at least American culture does is it tries to take significance away from the parents, as if you don't have influence in the next generation, put it to the government. So your kids will be ruled by an idea rather than a person, or rather a set of ideas. And who knows what those ideas will be, because the political winds sway left and right, and who knows what's allowed in schools. And I think Florida's doing a good job of trying to put the destiny of the children back into the parents, which is how it should be, because you're literally helping life continue. That's what you do as a parent. You help conscious life, the observance of reality, continue. That's a good thing. Something about this game that makes me go deep. Probably because everyone's like, wow, that guy, he felt the wrath of 4 charged attacks. And somehow lived to tell the tale. Girl, look at that giant cloud of death. Good thing friendly fire's not on. We'd have a lot of problems. Oh my gosh, frames. I think it's funny, Twitch is not dropping anything. My computer itself is just like, hey, you don't need to see this. 10 frames a second is good enough for you. If that. Might actually make it to the end. Sorry, don't mind me just checking stuff out. Yeah, so taking that, and taking the observance of people on their phones, I'll admit it. What else are we doing with our time, guys? Just open up everything. I saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy the sorrow's inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. This is, I mean, okay, that's not gonna hurt him. If we pick the key up, it doesn't do damage to him, believe it or not. I mean, the Christian story is something that always is mulling about in my mind, because it's not like I'm unaffected by the materialism that is at the outskirts of political thought. Because and the only reason that happened, as far as I can tell, is because people stopped paying attention to what's good and right and just kind of got lazy with the convenience of life. So they forgot to etch it into the next generation how important it is to understand you're part of a whole. You have a significance to the point where you can alter your reality around you. And what you're given is sacred. Be thankful for it, instead of trying to change it based on what you want, what you feel, because feelings lie to you all the time. And I'm like, what? Okay, what's that have to do with this whole, like, why did Christ have to come and die? You know, that's the Judeo-Christian part of it. And, you know, Jordan Peterson's getting it. I think he's doing a fantastic job of articulating this kind of thing. Because and then what is articulating? It's taking what is and basically putting like a hypothetical, basically like reverse mind reading what is, and giving you like a different perspective. Like that's what words do. And language is so weird, and so are things. When you look at something, like we look at this block, right? We don't see a block. We see the meaning behind it. We see an obstacle. 6 sides roughly. We only see 4 of them at a given time. 3 of them maybe. And we see what it does. And then we infer a name from that. So we infer permanence from meaning. So it starts with meaning, it goes to permanence. And that's what reality is, right? We have gravity that goes down. We observe what it does. We call it a thing. And that's like a shortcut to like knowledge, shortcut to articulation. So you can say one word as opposed to saying, for block, we could say block as opposed to saying, well, because you can go infinite when it comes to meaning. A 6-sided object that can go down. It could sometimes be slid. Depends what it's made of. It might be constructed of rock, or you could just say it's a block, and boom, everyone knows what you're talking about. Sit there and think instead of looking at your phone. Yeah, I know. So one of the things I wrote down on my because I write down my thoughts quite often, and I got my book right here. So this one's almost full. It's like my third one. And so my next topic is like, sorry, you can't really see it. It's like I fill this stuff with pages and thoughts. It's called the myth of religion. You know, what's that? What's the myth of religion trying to do? Well, it's telling you a story. But what's that story? And who cares, right? Who cares what the story is? But the answer to that is, well, it's extreme. It's almost infinitely complex, just like meaning. The reason why it's so important that you get the story right is so that you can have your very being, what makes you sad, happy, angry, joyous, give you meaning, is articulated in the proper way. Because if you get that wrong, you can literally lead material down the wrong path. You can lead yourself into, like, it's like the frog in the boiling pot of water. You can lead yourself to just boiling to death without even knowing it. So that's what happens when an idea is followed, but you don't know where it's going, or it leads you down the wrong path. So every single myth that's ever existed, every ancient religion, every modern religion, has the hero story. And Joseph Campbell, if you have not read Joseph Campbell, I strongly recommend checking that guy out, because he writes about this. And the thing about Joseph Campbell, though, he's not a Christian, and I think he died in the 80s. Is he puts the same significance to Christ as he does to, like, Muhammad, or, you know, it's all religion to him. So he doesn't look at, like, the archaeological data, doesn't look at the psychological data of what makes us us. But he says you have the hero story, and the hero story starts out, it's kind of like it's circular, but I would say it's more like a sine wave. But he has a picture of, like, you start out the normal, you have a call to adventure, and then you literally have to go down and die. At least a part of you dies. And after you die, you get a helper, you literally get resurrected, or redemption. Like, you get something that helps you be a better version of yourself, but you're still not dead. And then you come back, and you return. But you return with, if anything, experience. And that's in every single story and myth, and that calls to us, right? You know, John Wick's always my go-to as far as, like, sheer force of will and the underdog overcoming adversity. And John Wick is amazing, but it's still, he's one dude. And there's how many? There's a lot of guys. And John Wick does it all. Oh, jeez. And he gets beat up quite a bit. And it's fairly realistic. You're like, a guy could do what he did. And he, you know, experiences pain like the rest of us. And so that's the hero story. Overcoming adversity. And coming back a better version of himself. Maybe a little bit more well-learned. That kind of thing. That was it? Is that 28? I can take it. I can take it. Stepped on the spikies. So the Christian story, as far as I can tell, cannot write a worse or better story than that. It's the idea that a person who is as good as can possibly be, and his whole life is goodness and wholeness and making people well and telling you how to live a good life and living a good life at the same time. He does all the right things. Still gets betrayed because the world just can't have him, because the world is like, he has the broadest possible view of reality. And then, well, what happens? Well, you know, we want power, and that sucks you in here, because power, for what context? Because we all have a finite lifespan. You want, you know, I want prestige, and I want to be right, and then it gets lower and lower till the focus is on the individual instead of, you know, a vast, I would say not God complex, but at least like a story complex, a story that's greater than ourselves. And we want to be everybody wants to be a part of a story that's greater than ourselves. Yo. It's just in there, and so what happens is, like, you look into the darkness. So what's in that story? This is a terrible run, by the way. Oh, we got a spark, so that's good. So you look into the darkness, and what do you see? Well, death is at the end. But what happens? It's like you're looking into like pure potential or pure chaos, and what comes out of that is, well, you need something to structure it. You need something to save or something to pull you out of that. And so, he's a politician skeptical of truth and goes along with the masses. He has somebody who betrays him for money because money is more important than, you know, an actual person. You have people that, you know, when stuff goes down, you run away from your brother because you'd rather save your own life than have somebody live that's part of a bigger story than you. You know, and you are in there. Everybody's in that story. And then the guy dies. Christ dies. And this doesn't circumvent the problems of life. It goes right through them. It goes through them, to them, and through them. That's focus, as far as I can tell. His last name is Noel. I forget his first name, but he's like a 10th degree black belt in Taekwondo, and he told me that. He's like, focus is going to and through your target. I'm like, wow, that's really neat. I like that. So that's focus. You don't go around death. You go through death. Stay down, cat. Command you. So that's the whole point of the story. So I'm writing a talk that I'm hoping to get my secular friends who don't really believe in religion, but, you know, atheism is still a religion whether you believe it or not, because you have certain value structures you abide by, and it's a story greater than yourself, which is nothingness on either end. You came from nothing. We're going to end up in nothing, so I'm gonna make a public talk called The Myth of Religion. I'm gonna try to anyway. Because what does myth try to do? It tries to tell you who you are and where you're going, and that's always outside of yourself. And so something a phone does is it draws you in until you're not paying attention to what's really outside yourself. You're going inside yourself. And this is also Eve coming out of Adam. You're extracting out Eve from Adam. In the Bible, which has happened. You take Eve out of the rib of Adam, so that you're not brooding within, because maybe Adam was hermaphroditic, like who knows. Instead of brooding within, your interaction with reality is without. You have to interact with another person in order for life to continue. Peterson talked about Jesus as a perfect human being, and that's how he should be viewed, as a role model for perfect morals and stuff. Yeah, he talked about Christ, and like when he starts talking about Christ, he gets pretty intense. And that's awesome, as far as I could tell, because he was there, and the evidence that he existed and did what he did is just overwhelming. And the stuff he says is so crazy, and has, well, literally 2,000 years of impact. What year are we in right now? Somehow America's still standing. Somehow the book is still there, regardless of what you think, or if you want to discredit it, or anything, it still is what it is. It's a book that has amazing value, and if you follow Christ correctly, your life should reflect it. Anyway, I gotta get ready to go to work. I'm modeling myself after him, because after Ravi Zacharias kind of fell from grace. You can look at that however you want. Jordan Peterson's been kind of like the person I point to. Like, I think he's got something there. I think he's doing things the correct way. So one of the things he does is try to give lectures without notes, which is kind of what I'm doing here, sort of, except I didn't really have a direction. You have to have a point you're trying to make. You have to memorize your outline points, so you can kind of riff from there. So I've been doing that a bit. I already you can look at this talk. It's Chasing Dragons, where you follow the concept of the snake and how it goes east of Eden, how it becomes a cobra, the lord of the snakes, and then it eventually becomes a dragon. That's in the eastern countries, and that's when it becomes a dragon, your creation story is basically just gone. It's really, really neat. And I talked for just about 2 hours straight. I gotta give a little break in there, but all I did was write down 5 points. So if you're really passionate about something, and I'm passionate about this stuff, I like it. You'll get into it. I'm also passionate about martial arts, so the history of the Okinawan guys is pretty cool too. Mr. Miyagi and all that. He was an actual guy, but it was Choji Miyagi, not the Miyagi in the Karate Kid. Anyway, I gotta get to work, so thanks for watching. You guys enjoyed it? If you're on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe to see more in the future, and I'll see you next time.